Control of externally provided product, processes, and services, or simply the purchasing process. Scope. This procedure applies to the control of all externally provided products, processes, and services that have the potential to affect product quality, patient safety, or compliance with ISO 13485, FDA 21 CFR Part 820, ROACH REACH regulations, and the Dodd-Frank Act Section 1502 addressing conflict minerals disclosure requirements. The scope further includes supplier evaluation, approval, monitoring, and reevaluation. It also includes the preparation and control of purchasing information and verification activities to ensure purchased products and services meet specified requirements. Responsibilities. Process owner is responsible for 1. Supplier control. Approving, monitoring, and reevaluating suppliers, maintaining and updating the approved supplier list, ASL, and ensuring supplier performance data is reviewed and acted upon. 2. Purchasing information. Ensuring purchase orders clearly state all requirements, specifications, revisions, COC, regulatory flowdowns. Verifying that customer and regulatory requirements are flowed down to suppliers. 3. Verification of purchase product. Ensuring incoming inspection and/or verification activities are defined and performed. Confirming certificates of conformance, COC, test reports, and other required documentation are reviewed. Making sure the non-conforming purchase product is controlled. And 4. Regulatory and quality management system compliance. Ensuring supplier controls comply with ISO 13485 and all applicable regulatory requirements. Also, maintaining supplier-related records, including supplier evaluation, monitoring, verification, and re-evaluation records, is the responsibility of the purchasing quality process owner. So one more time with different words. Purchase only from suppliers on the approved supplier list, ASL. Evaluate, approve, and re-evaluate suppliers based on risk, performance, and compliance. Ensure purchase orders clearly state requirements, specifications, revisions, certifications, flowdowns. Verify purchased products and services through inspection, COCs, audits, or validation as required. Monitor supplier performance, on-time delivery, quality, responsiveness, and take action if performance declines. Maintain records of supplier evaluation, approval, monitoring, and verification for compliance evidence. Let's move on to some more details of the purchasing process. Supplier selection, qualification, risk, and monitoring. Suppliers are selected based on price, availability, and risk assessment. Supplier evaluation is documented using the supplier approval form. Suppliers are classified by risk. All approved suppliers are listed in the approved supplier log. Performance is monitored monthly based on-time delivery, compliance, and responsiveness. Reevaluation is required if performance falls below 95% or during annual review. Supplier approval status may be approved, all quality requirements met. Conditionally approved, partial requirements are met. In this case, the approval conditions need to be recorded on the ASL or disapproved when the requirements are repeatedly not met. The next topic is supplier communication and flow-down requirements. Here we have two groups, A. General requirements and B. Special requirements. General requirements are established in LS 2.0-004 supplier terms and conditions, and flowed down on all purchase orders with a note referencing the supplier terms and conditions. Special requirements such as product or process-specific requirements, specifications, customer-specific clauses, or regulatory flowdowns are communicated via purchase order notes, contracts, or other written instructions. All purchasing information is reviewed and approved prior to release. A record of who placed, reviewed, and approved the purchase order is within the ERP system. Type and extent of controls. Suppliers are classified based on risk. Class 1, low risk, cannot affect product conformity, such as office supplies, legal services, not subject to incoming inspection. Class 2, medium risk, distributors, raw material suppliers, and vendors where conformity can be verified internally, subject to incoming inspection. Class 3, high risk, special process suppliers where conformity can only be validated, such as plating, sterilization, require additional verification and 3 RD party validation. Let's review some of the key points of the purchasing process one more time. Records of evaluation and actions arising from the evaluation are maintained in the supplier folder. The organization is responsible for the quality and conformity of all products purchased from suppliers, including customer-designated sources and customer-verified external providers. General quality requirements are communicated through the supplier terms and conditions located on the corporate website, the issued purchase order, and/or supplied drawings. Customer verification activities do not absolve the organization of its responsibility to provide acceptable products. If a direct shipment from an external provider to the customer is authorized, the risk shall be assessed, controls established as applicable, and a record of the risk assessment created. A note shall be recorded on the approved supplier list stating that direct shipment is authorized. Conclusion. Make sure that all suppliers are approved, the supplier approval form is completed and signed, the supplier is on the ASL, the supplier performance is measured on a monthly basis, and the supplier performance rating is recorded on the ASL. Ensure that actions are taken and recorded when a supplier fails to meet set goals. A complete supplier reevaluation is required if the supplier's performance falls below 95%. The supplier terms and conditions are communicated to the supplier, and a record regarding the acceptance of all applicable terms is established. Flow down all customer requirements, including all applicable specifications, and regulatory requirements such as ROHS or DFARS. Make sure that the C of C includes a record of all applicable customer requirements. For example, if the customer requires a raw material specified as titanium Ti6 Al4 V grade 5 per ASTM 4911 Rev L, then the C of C needs to state exactly the same specification. Simply pay attention to detail. Excellence is not an act of luck, but a habit of discipline.